Today, let's talk about a different triad, not about the triad in Hong Kong, but about the triad in Nepal's parliament. The triad that's been taking Nepal's sovereign parliament hostage. It has been holding the parliament hostage, literally. So let's talk about that as the country grapples with, as the country continues to grapple with different crises. Welcome to the program. In a democracy true to its name, the parliament, that is the legislature, one of the three principal organs of the state, makes laws. Elected representatives voice concerns of the public in its hallowed chambers and make the other organ of the state, the executive, address those concerns. Well informed, engaging, and enlightening discussions on every matter before it, including draft laws, make the chambers truly representative of the will of the people. Parliamentary debates in India and the United Kingdom, for example, show how the lawmakers hold their government to account. The judiciary has a very important role to play in a democracy. As the final interpreter of the Constitution, it checks the constitutionality of laws and keeps a tab on the government and the parliament from a moral high ground, from a moral vantage point. More often than not, our own judiciary, that is Nepal's judiciary, it has shown how to do it, how to just make the government accountable, how to hold the parliament to account. If the court's precedents are not enough, there are enough lessons to learn from the immediate neighborhood and beyond on how to tame a regime seeking to trample on civil liberties. A constant judicial vigilance is necessary in a functioning democracy. This is because the executive even seeks to bring the judiciary under its ambit through some sort of parliamentary control by violating judicial independence. The parliament often exhibits the tendency to do the bidding of a majority even at the expense of the larger interest of the public and the country it is supposed to serve, under pressure from the government of the day, in a blatant violation of the letter and the spirit of the charter. Who knows this better than the Nepali people? Nude spectators to spectacles where a ready majority raises its hands automatically in support when a whip wielding executive seeks to enforce its will in an audacious breach of the principles of separation of powers as well as checks and balances. In young democracies in particular, the parliament often becomes a special purpose vehicle designed to serve the executive and other powerful vested interests instead of taking them to task. This becomes easy when the opposition and the ruling parties come together to serve powerful vested interests. The people pay the price when the executive seeks to move ahead by ignoring the concerns of the opposition raised in the House, and the latter obstructs it in its desperate bid to have its way. Recently in Nepal, the main opposition obstructed the parliament for days on end. What was its demand? It was calling for a high level commission to investigate a recent case of a huge gold consignment concealed in brake shoes passing through a high security Trivandrum International Airport. Before that, the party had obstructed the parliament over the prime minister's remarks about a transporter's great efforts toward elevating him to the coveted position. Of course, the opposition has every right to ask difficult questions from the government and seek answers to those questions. But is the House obstruction an effective way to hold the government accountable? This is because the main opposition, the CP and UML, has repeatedly obstructed House proceedings on one pretext or the other, only to reach a compromise with the government, in many cases after a huge loss of public properties. Notably, opposition parties other than the main opposition have accused the main opposition, CPN VML, the Nepali Congress, and the CPN Mao Center of holding the parliament hostage to fulfill vested interests. Secretive talks between the leadership of the three major parties magically ending house stalemates suggest some comfy arrangements. Indeed, the leadership of the three parties could have done so much for the people grappling with challenges like rising market prices, shrinking job opportunities, endemic corruption, instability, and calamities that are becoming more and more disastrous due to development activities undertaken with scant regard for the carrying capacity of the terrains. In Nepal, the Russia Ukraine war and this breakdown of the Black Sea grain deal, uh, it has constrained grain supplies. Add to it the Indian government's recent decision to tighten, to impose curbs on the export of foodstuffs like rice, wheat, and such. Uh, this has also had just taken a toll on the supply of essentials like foodstuffs. In recent days, India has slapped a huge export duty on the export of onions. That has also impacted the Nepali market. Add to it this constant surge in petroleum products. When the prices of petroleum products go up, market prices automatically increase. This is because diesel, in particular, is the transportation fuel. In the case of Nepal, uh, this reliance on petroleum products has been steadily increasing. This means ever rising market prices. Anyway, uh, disastrous performance of the three of the leadership of the three major parties in a difficult situation like this will not be lost on a people they claim to be serving day in and day out. Neither the government nor the main opposition nor any other force has the right to hold the legislative organ of the state hostage in its desperate bid to fulfill its overt or covert interests. Sadly, even the Speaker and the President, the guardian of the Constitution, have appeared helpless in the face of repeated deadlocks. Summing up, all entities that constitute the parliament should learn lessons from repeated obstructions and make every effort to ensure its smooth functioning. The sovereign body has some crucial legislations pending, including those related to transitional justice and money laundering. It's time the Parliament moved ahead with a sense of urgency and made up for the lost time. Dear audience, I read out this presentation. It was primarily based on the editorial published in today's edition of the Annapurna Express. I hope you liked my presentation. I request you to subscribe to this channel, comment on our presentation, and press that like button. Remember, we have been trying to promote citizen journalism. We have been trying to be your true voice. So we request you to just literally throw your weight behind this initiative. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for listening.